Hello students, hope you all are doing good. So today we will see about pseudo color image processing and basics of full color image processing. So let's start with pseudo color image processing. So pseudo color, it is also known as a false color image processing, consists of assigning colors to gray values based on the specified creations. So the term pseudo or false color is used to differentiate the process of assigning colors to monochrome images from the processes associated with the true images. So the principal use of pseudo color is for human visualization and interpretation of grayscale events in an image or sequence of images. So let's start with intensity slicing. So the technique intensity, it is known as density. So intensity slicing and color coding is one of the simplest example of the pseudo color image processing. If an image is in the tempered interpreted as a 3D function, the method can be viewed as one of placing planes parallel to the coordinate plane of the image. So each plane then slices the function in the area of intersection. So this figure shows an example of using a plane at f of xy is equal to li to slice the image function into two levels. So if a different color is assigned to each side of the plane, which is shown in this figure, any pixel whose intensity level is in above the plane will coded with the one color, and any pixel below the plane will be coded in the other. So levels that lie on the plane itself may be arbitrarily assigned one of the two colors. So the result is a two color image whose relative appearance can be controlled by moving the slicing plane up and down the intensity axis. So in general, the technique may be summarized here as let 0 to L minus 1 represent the grayscale, right? So a level L0 represent the black, means f of xy is equal to 0, and a level L minus 1 represent the white, f of xy is equal to L minus 1. So here is the black and it is a white. So suppose that P planes perpendicular to the intensity axis, which are defined as the level L1, L2 up to LP. Then assuming that 0 less than P less than L minus 1, so the P planes partition the gray scale into the P plus 1 intervals. So V1, V2 up to V plus 1. So intensity to the color assignments are made according to the relation f of xy is equal to ck if f of xy belongs to vk, where here ck is the color associated with the kth intensity interval and vk defined by the partitioning planes at L is equal to k minus 1 and L is equal to k. So the idea of the planes is useful preliminary for the geometric interpretation of the intensity scaling technique. So here this figure shows an alternative representation that defines the same mapping as this figure. So according to the mapping function, here any input intensity level is assigned one of two colors depending on whether it is above or below the value of Li. So when more levels are used, the mapping function takes on a staircase form. So a simple but practical use of intensity slicing is described here in these figures. So figure A is a monochrome image of a picker thyroid phantom, means a radiation, it is a radiation test pattern, and this figure is the result of intensity slicing this image into the 8 colors. This image is to the 8 colors. So regions that appear from constant intensity in the monochrome image are really quite variable, as shown by the various colored in this sliced image. So the left lobe, for instance, is a dull gray in the monochrome image, and picking out variations in the intensity is difficult. By contrast, the color image clearly shows the 8 different regions of a constant intensity, one for each of the color used. So in the preceding simple example, the gray scale was divided into intervals and a different color was assigned to each region without regret for the meaning of the gray level in the image. So interest in that case was simply to view the different gray levels constituting the image. So intensity slicing assumed a much more meaningful and useful role when subdivision of the grayscale is based on the physical characteristics of this image. So here this figure shows an X-ray image of a weld, means horizontal dark region containing several cracks and uh, porosities. So it is known when there is a porosity or crack in the weld. A full strength of the X-ray going through the object structure saturations the imaging sensor on the other side of the objects. So thus intensity values of 225 255 in an 8-bit image combining from such a system automatically imply a problem with the weld. So if a human were to be the ultimate judge of the analysis and manual processes were employed to inspect the welds, so a simple color coding that assigns that one color to level 255 and other to the other level, all the intensity levels would simplify the inspector's job considerably. So this figure shows the result. Here no explanation is required to arrive the conclusion that human error rates would be lower if images were displayed in the form of like this instead of the form of this. So if the exact intensity value or range values one is looking for is known as a intensity slicing, is a simple but powerful aid in visualization, especially if numerous images are involved. So measurement of the rainfall levels, especially in the tropical regions of the earth, is of interest in diverse applications dealing with the environment. So accurate measurement using ground based sensors are difficult to expensive to acquire, and total rainfall figures are even more difficult to obtain because a significant portion of the perception occur over the ocean. So one approach for obtaining rainfall figures is to use a satellite. The TRMM means Tropical Rainfall Measuring Mission. Satellite utilizes, among others, 3 sensors specially designed to detect rain: a precipitation radar, a microwave imager, and a visible and infrared scanner. So the results from the various rain sensors are processed, resulting in the estimates of average rainfall over a given time period in the area monitored by the sensors. From these estimates, it is not difficult to generate grayscale images whose intensity values correspond directly to the rainfall, with each pixel representing a physical land area whose size depends on the resolution of the sensors. So such an intensity images is here in this figure, where area is monitored by the satellite in the is the slightly lighter horizontal band in the middle 1/3 of the picture. So in this particular example, the rainfall values are average monthly values over a 3-year period. Value examined of this picture of rainfall patterns is quite difficult, if it is not impossible. So suppose that we code intensity levels from 0 to 255 using the colors shown in figure. Values forward to the blue significantly low values of rainfalls, with the opposite being true of red. So note here that the scale top out at pure red of values of the rainfall is greater than 20 inches. So this figure shows the result of color coding the gray image with the color map just discussed. The results are much easier to interpret as shown in this figure, and in the zoomed area. So now let's see about intensity to color transformations. So other types of transformations are more general and thus are capable of achieving a wider range of pseudo color enhancement results than the simple slicing technique as discussed. So an approach that is particularly attractive here is shown in this figure. So basically the idea underlying this approach is to perform three independent transformations on the intensity of any input pixel. The three results are then fed separately into the red, green and blue channels of a color television monitor. So this method produces a composite image whose color content is modulated by the nature of the transformation. So here these transformations on the intensity values of an image and are not functions of the position. This method is discussed as discussed here. The piecewise linear function of the intensity levels are used to generate colors. So this method is discussed in this section here. On the other hand, can be based on the smooth nonlinear functions, which is might be expected, which gives a technique considerable of flexibility. So here this figure shows the two monochrome images of the luggage obtained from an airport X-ray scanning system. The image on the left contains the ordinary article. The image on the right contains the same articles as well as a block of simulated plastic explosive. So the purpose of this example is to illustrate the use of intensity level to color transformations to obtain various degrees of enhancement. So here this figure shows the transformation function used. So these sinusoidal functions contain regions of relatively constant value around the peaks as well as regions that change rapidly near the valleys. So changing the phase and frequency of each sinusoid can emphasize in color ranges in the grayscale. For instance, if all three transformations have the same phase and frequency, the output image will be monochrome. So a small change in the phase between the three transformations produces till changes in the pixels whose intensity correspond to the peaks in the sinusoids, especially if the sinusoids have a broad profiles, means low frequencies. So the pixel with intensity values in the step section of the sinusoidal are assigned a much stronger color content as a result of significant differences between the amplitudes of three sinusoids caused by the phase displacement between them. So here in this figure, it is based on a single monochrome image. So a frequent use of this approach is multispectral image processing, where different sensors produce individual monochromes images, each in the different spectral bands. So the types of additional phases here as here. So it can be a technique such as a color balancing, combining images and selecting three images for display based on the knowledge about response characteristics of the sensors used to generate the images. So here figure A through D, we can show the four spectral satellite images of Washington DC, including a part of the Potomac River. So the first three images are in the visible red, green and blue, and the fourth is in the near infrared. So figure E is the full color image obtained by the combining the first three images into RGB image. Full color image of the dense areas are difficult to interpret, but one notable feature of this image is the difference in color in various parts of the Potomac River. So Figure F is a little more interesting. This image was formed by the replacing the red component of figure 6.27 here E. So with a near infrared image. So from this table we know that the band is strongly responsive to the biomass components of the scene. Figure F shows quite clearly the difference between biomass in red color and human-made features in the scene composed primarily of concentrate and asphalt, which appears bluish in the image. So this figure is an illustration of this above figures. So these are images of the Jupiter moon shown in a pseudo color by combining several of the sensor images from the Galileo spacecraft, some of which are in spectral regions not visible to the eye. So by understanding the physical and chemical process likely to affect sensor response, it is possible to combine the sensed images into the meaningful pseudo color map. So on the way to combine the sensed image data is by how they show either differences in surface chemical composition or changes in the way the surface reflects sunlight. For example, the pseudo image in this figure bright red despite the material newly injected from an active volcano on input side, and surrounding yellow materials are older sulfur deposits. So this image conveys this characteristics much more readily than would be possible by analyzing the component images individually. So now basics of full color image processing. So here we begin the study of processing techniques applicable to full color images. So they are far from the being exhaustive. The techniques developed in these sections that follow are the illustrative of the full color images we handle for a variety of image processing tasks. So full color image processing approaches fall into two major categories. In the first category, we process each component image individually and then from a composite processed color image from the individually processed components. In the second category, we work with the color pixel directly. So because full color images have at least three components, color pixels are vectors. For example, in the RGB system, each color point can be interpreted as a vector extending from the origin to that point in the RGB coordinate system. So let C present an arbitrary vector in RGB color process. So C is equal to CR, CB is equal to RGB. So this equation indicates that the components of C are simplify the RGB components of a color image at a point. So we take into account that fact that the color components are a function of coordinates of xy by using the notation C of xy is equal to CR of xy, CG of xy, CB of xy is equal to Rxy, Gxy and Bxy. So for an image of size m cross n, there are mn such vectors C of xy for x is equal to 0, 1, 2 up to m minus 1 and y is equal to 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. So it is important to keep in mind that this equation describes the vector whose components are spatial variable in x and y. So this is a frequent source of confusion that can be avoided by focusing on a fact that our interest lies in a spatial process. So in order of pre-color component and vector based processing to be equivalent, two conditions have to be satisfied. First is the process has to be applicable to both the vectors and scalars, and second one is the operations on each component of a vector must be independent of the other components. So as an illustration in this figure shows the neighborhood spatial processing of a grayscale and full color images. Suppose that the process is in a neighborhood averaging. So this figure averaging would be accomplished by summing the intensities of all the pixels in the neighborhood and dividing by the total number of pixels in the neighborhood. And in this figure B, averaging would be done by summing all the vectors in the neighborhood and dividing each components by the total number of vectors in the neighborhood. But each components of a average vector is the sum of the pixels in the image corresponding to that component, so which is the same as the result that would be obtained if the averaging were done on a pre-color component basis and then the vector was formed. Thank you.